Once again, our thanks go to our Finance Officer and Chief Executive, and indeed our senior leadership team for the efforts they've been putting into bringing forward the various reports that we've seen in the last few weeks. And also my heartfelt thanks go to our staff working in departments across the borough, dealing with many of the most vulnerable in our borough. And at a time of great personal upset and worry for them with regard to their jobs, they continue to serve our residents in the best way possible. So our thanks go to them. So tonight, here we are in Croydon, where we clearly have a borough that is a record breaker, a Labour borough that has the highest debt in London, 1.5 billion of debt, equating to 15,000 an hour borrowed since Labour took office. The first authority to issue back-to-back Section 114 notices, 2 to date with a potential third to be issued tomorrow. The loaning of £200 million to their wholly owned development company without the need for any repayments or dividends that were promised. The lowest reserves in London at a derisory £7 million. These are truly record-breaking moments, but sadly they are not good records. And it's shameful that our borough has been brought to such bankruptcy. And now we have this Labour council who sound like a broken record as they roll out the sound bites and platitudes to explain how they have bankrupted the borough, to the point where they even try and deny that it's bankruptcy at this point. We hear from them how the council finds itself in dire straits. Well, their choices brought these dire straits. How they're a new administration. Well, there's been no election, so there is no administration, and they can't even be bothered to remove councillors Newman, Hall and Butler from their side. How they're resizing the budget, how they sympathise. Well, I'm sorry to say that what we're faced with in Croydon is the same old Labour Party. They continue to lack pace, they lack urgency, they lack options, and they lack the ability to change, as we've heard from the report both tonight and previously. And tonight we heard from Councillor Hall that he was never shown any facilities agreements, despite loaning over 200 million to Brick by Brick. You would have thought when you're overseeing such loans, you would proactively ask to see such agreements and indeed ask for management accounts. Surely these are basic accounting procedures. It just highlights a lack of rigour on the part of this Labour Council when playing monopoly with taxpayers' money. And now we know that the bailout bid totalling some 150 million has gone to government. And yet again, Labour refused to answer important questions. Councillor Ali takes pride that everyone was able to ask a question at Cabinet, except of course about borrowing £150 million. Despite your external auditors making it plain that you must respond to challenge, and you're just failing to do so. This Labour Council lacks leadership and it's lacking direction. It was this Conservative group that called a vote of no confidence in Councillors Newman and Hall, and yet all of the Labour councillors backed them. It was this Conservative group that called for the sacking of Councillors Butlers and Scott, and that did happen. It was this Conservative group that called for action to reduce councillors' allowances, which has once again forced this Labour Council to make a decision. This is the second 114 notice that has been issued, and yet nothing has demonstrably changed. Councillor Ali herself says that simply our situation hasn't changed. Well, that's simply wrong. As we heard tonight, the situation has deteriorated by some 16 million. What have you achieved in the last few weeks? This so-called new administration has no new ideas and is delivering nothing new for the people of our borough. And as the weeks pass by, this Labour Council continues to prove that they are not capable of running this borough. They are not capable of delivering the change that this borough needs. This borough deserves so much better than this moribund, failing Labour Council. Thank you, Madam Mayor.